Ladies and gentlemen,
In the 60s decade, African American living throughout North America continued to suffer economic, social inequality. These people were in poverty and all the public services that they had were so reduced. This characterized these urban centers. Also, for this situation, they live in poor living conditions, extreme health problems, violence, and they had limited means to change their circumstances. Or start changing with the assassination of Malcolm X in 1965. Then the students of Merritt Junior College, Hugh Percy Newton and Bobby Sale, founded the Black Panther self-defending in October 15, 1995. Later it would be Black Panther Party.
Black Panthers movement was created in 1966 in California in order to stop violence against black people, racism, and social inequality. Black Panthers believed that the non-violent movement of Martin Luther King failed and all the changes that were promised would take too long. BPP said that despite being African American people, they would speak out for every minority that were oppressed, and they were willing to use violence in order to get what they wanted. Though they seemed as a violent group, they did great things for their community. For example, in support areas, BPP created some free food programs to feed those that couldn't do it for themselves, free medical research, health clinics to provide basic health care, and even a band for movement pride. BPP was looking for freedom for black community and any other community that were oppressed, to get unemployment and a guaranteed income for every person, payment of the overdue debt that was promised for ex-slaves during the Reconstruction period. Decent housing fit. The land should be into cooperative so that people could build. Education. Teaching the true history of black people and their role in present society. Free health care. End police brutality and the murder of black people or other colored people that were oppressed. End all war aggressions. Freedom of all political prisoners, trials by juries that represented their peers. Land, food, housing, education, justice, peace, and community control of modern industry. The movement ended because somehow the FBI related the call of a revolutionary war with the Vietnam War that was happening at the same time. This made the FBI look for the BPP and they destroyed the movement in 1982.
Mr. Carmichael, do you see any change in atmosphere in the South? Do you think that we are approaching a more militant or revolutionary stage in the civil rights movement in the South?
Yes, I certainly think so. I think we're moving now into a political arena. And I think that what Negroes are now tampering in, what they're tampering with, will touch the entire country. To be very precise, for example, many Negroes who have registered to vote have been evicted from their lands in Lowndes County. People who have worked on plantations for 35, 40 years because they've registered to vote have been evicted. So that raises a philosophical question, not only for us, but for the whole country. Can property-less people be made as equal as property owners through the vote?
Do you think the formation of your party, the Black Panther Party, is perhaps contributing to the change in atmosphere and making it, in fact, more explosive?
Yes, I certainly think so, because this is the first time in the country that Negroes will be organized for their own political interest, and they will form their own party and move along those interests as they see fit. It is unlike Negroes across the country who are registered in the Democratic Party but are not organized for their own interest.
Now, what I don't understand is this. You are also a member of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. At the same time, you are organizing a group in the South which almost certainly will tend to contribute to violence, or at least counter-violence.
Well, they won't contribute to violence. They will just be seeking their political rights, and they will have to defend those rights. Now, they will defend it the way the country defends its own rights, the way we defended in Vietnam, the way we defended it in World War II, the way we defended it in World War I, the way we're going to defend it in the Dominican Republic, I imagine. They will defend it the same way, violently.
black people were in trouble because the white Americans and the government didn't want them. For this, they had to stand up and make the Black Panther Party. If they had not made this party, they would have continued with their situation. Of course, this movement helped all the black people because they started to make a lot of programs and giving resources for the well-being of all the community. In our opinion, we think that this movement really helps all these people because they noticed that the only thing that would help them was a revolution to make a change, a revolution for the common good, for the people, for the future, and for the well-being. Black Panther ended up, but the example continues. The example that you don't have to be quiet, in silence, doing this that you don't want to, and all these things that affect your life. It is the best example about a youth moment, because they didn't want the same. They really wanted and needed a change, and they made it without giving up.